Belief in witchcraft is universal. It has both negative and positive responses. In a neutral sense, witchcraft is sorcery, the magical manipulation of forces by casting spells and conjuring or invoking spirits. It has been used by humankind since prehistoric times in an effort to control the environment and enhance daily life. Throughout history, witches have been feared because they were believed to be evil, in consort with the devil, and able to fly through the night on a broomstick and shapeshift into magical creatures. The same women who were sought after, healers, midwives, the wise women and crones, for help were the ones who were also feared for their knowledge. In truth, witches are in tune with nature and with themselves. They are men and women who are dark and light, day and night, healer and justice all in one. To be a witch is to be a keeper of balance, the essential witch.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Essential Witch. So we're doing the summer solstice today. And I wanted to start with a little bit of information on the summer solstice itself. The term solstice is derived from the Latin words sol, S-O-L, which means sun, and sistere, S-I-S-T-R-E-R-E, to stand still. This is because the sun's position in the sky at noon does not appear to change much during the solstice and the surrounding days. Celebrations have been held in honor of the solstice in different cultures around the world for hundreds of years. Among these, the Sankthansj, S-A-N-K-T-H-A-N-S, or Midsummer, which is celebrated on June 24th in the Scandinavian countries. In 2010, the people of Norway actually set a world record for the tallest bonfire to celebrate the summer solstice. It was 132 feet tall. So, this is a holiday that's celebrated by a lot of different cultures. The summer solstice is pagan, Celtic, and Druidic traditions that date back hundreds of years. The main theme of the solstice is abundance. If celebrated correctly, one can manifest anything into the material world. Around the world, people celebrate by communing in large drum circles, parties, and rituals. If you notice, everything done during the summer solstice is a communal event. Even people who don't really realize that they're celebrating it, family barbecues and stuff like that are a great way to celebrate it. This is very important for the spirit of the summer solstice, is just that. It's one of a great coming together. So this is where we get to all come together and be peaceful and have hot dogs and drink mead and get along. I think we need to have a really big summer solstice festival for the entire world and make them all get along. Although you may or may not believe in particular religions or traditions, the religions featured during this ceremony, celebratory time, have very real rituals that follow during the summer solstice. For pagans, some of the following themes and symbols and spells apply. So I'm going through like the pagan side of all of this. Herbs for the summer solstice: basil, chamomile, daisy, elder, pine, St. John's wort, thyme, yarrow, frankincense, fennel, lavender, and lily. Those are all some of the basic herbs for summer solstice. If you're looking for essential oils and incenses, frankincense, lemon, lavender, sandalwood, lotus, jasmine, rose, wisteria, and myrrh are all great essential oils to use for that. And if you like to decorate, which a lot of people do, a lot of people like to decorate their altars and their homes and stuff like that, anything reminiscent of the sun. You can use yellows and oranges and reds, dried herbs, potpourri, fruits, summer flowers. It's really easy to decorate for summer solstice. And Ravenfire is in the chat room. Hi, Ravenfire, and Mrs. Brown and Robert and Carissa. We do have quite a few people in the chat, so feel free to pop on into the chat. For your gemstones, any green stone is great for your summer solstice. Your jades, your emeralds, all those, any green stone. You can even use turquoise because it is turquoise has got a little bit of green to it. It's a blue-green, but it works. So use the turquoise too. Besides that, turquoise is good for everything. Some of your summer foods. Mead, of course. Fresh fruits and vegetables, of course, because summertime is great for that. Lemonade, cookies and cakes decorated to honor the sun, and of course plenty of ale. If you're going to do spell work, it is the perfect time for any magic, but especially good for any kind of animal protection and marriage, and if you're going to do a vow renewal spell. Some of the incenses that you can use, I have one that is a solstice incense. Use 2 parts sandalwood with 1 part mugwort, 1 part chamomile, 1 part gardenia petals. Use several drops of rose oil and several drops of lavender oil and several drops of yarrow oil. And that makes a great summer incense if you want to make your own incense. I'm going to be giving you guys some recipes as well, because, Kitchen Witch, that's how I celebrate. It's food. I like food. I should weigh about 400 pounds. I really like food. Orange honey butter. This stuff is awesome. 2 tablespoons of grated orange zest, 3 tablespoons of confectioner's sugar, a half a cup of unsalted butter softened, and yes, butter, not margarine, use unsalted butter. 1 to 2 tablespoons of real honey, raw honey, not that store-brand stuff, real honey. You want to combine all the ingredients together and chill it until you're ready to eat. Oh my God, it is so good. So, back off of the recipes now because I'm starting to get hungry. If casting spells and chanting doesn't seem like something that would fit into your personality or your beliefs, then a good way to spend your summer solstice would be simply enjoying the day and the day following by honoring the midsummer's day with acknowledgement. You do not have to, and a lot of us as solitary practitioners who have family members that are not pagan cannot do the types of rituals that you do in a coven. For me myself, it's just me and Roger's an atheist, so I'm solitary for the most part. He backs me up on everything I do, but he's not going to come out and chant with me under the moon or the sun. So, working as a solitary, you can just do some other things, just, a barbecue with the family, because his family's not pagan either. My family's not pagan. So, you could do a barbecue. Just have a barbecue and acknowledge, that the sun is even here. Enjoy the day. Hopefully it's nice and bright and sunny Monday. Not too hot, not too cold, not raining. And you can actually enjoy the day. So often we get caught up in our busy lives and we forget to honor the earth that we stand on. Be thankful, be grateful, and compassionate toward others. In the spirit of the ancients would be proud of you if you did. So taking the time just to be nice to each other, is a great way to celebrate the solstice. It has been believed that Stonehenge was the site of the ancient Druid solstice celebrations because of the way the sun lines up with the stones on winter and summer solstice. To this day, thousands of modern pagans gather at the landmark to watch the sunrise on the solstice. I believe in 2013, 37,000 people attended the summer solstice celebration at Stonehenge. In paganism and Wicca, midsummer is celebrated with a festival known as Litha, L-I-T-H-A. In ancient Europe, the festival involved rolling giant wheels lit on fire into bodies of water to symbolize the balance between fire and water. In ancient Egypt, the summer solstice preceded the appearance of the Sirius star, which was believed to be responsible for the annual flooding of the Nile. This was relied upon for agriculture. The Egyptian calendar is set so that the start of the year coincides with the appearance of Sirius, right after the solstice. In China, the summer solstice is the yin to the winter's yang. It is believed that the powers of yin and yang waxed and waned in reverse proportion to each other. Each year in Alaska on the summer solstice, the Alaskan Gold Panners of Fairbanks celebrate their status as the most northern baseball team by playing a game that starts at 10:30 and stretches well into the following morning. It's known as the Midnight Sun Game. It originally started back in 1906 and was taken over by the Gold Panners in their first year of existence in 1960. In ancient Greece, the Greek festival known as Kronia, Kronia, which honored the god Cronus, the god of agriculture, coincided with the summer solstice. The festival was different from all others because both the slaves and the free men participated in the festivals as equals. There was no separation between the people who were free and the slaves during this festival. In Rome, midsummer coincided with the festival of Vestali, which honored Vesta, the Roman goddess who guarded virginity, and was considered the patron of the domestic sphere. On the first day of the festival, married women were allowed to enter the temple of the Vestal Virgins, from which they were barred the rest of the year. They could not go in there for the rest of the year. Now that we've covered some of the history involved with the summer solstice, and one recipe because I couldn't resist, I wanted to cover some of the different ways that you can celebrate this solstice yourself. Do some sky observations. These are just going to be simple, easy ways that you can celebrate the solstice without throwing this grand, party. Some people choose to travel to celebrate, and not just anywhere. They'll choose places that have a spiritual connection, like Stonehenge. Places with great views, or for even other personal reasons. Some places have actual markers to show how the ancient people used to witness the summer solstice by watching the sun align with a specific rock or design. However, wherever you choose to celebrate it is up to you. You want to try to choose a suitable spot for viewing the sunrise. You want an unrestricted view of the horizon in the direction of the sunrise. You may want to take a camera with you to capture the moment. Or if you paint, you could set up an easel and paint the sun as it rises. You may want to meditate, you may want to throw a party, or you may just want to be alone, or even just with a few close friends. One way of celebrating could be to revisit ancient traditions, to find ideas for parties. You could set up a themed type party if you wanted to do it that way. Another thing you can do for summer solstice is seeking fulfillment from your life. The summer solstice is the beginning of summer. It also represents the time of fulfillment. It is a great time to take a good look at your life and assess how your goals and aims are going. Take this time to reinvigorate your goals and make any necessary changes to achieve what you want in life. You could just sit outside and read a book, and I highly recommend this because I love being able to read a book. I don't get to do it often enough anymore. It is a great way to get connected with the sun and nature. Whether it's a book you've been meaning to read or a book that you have read before and enjoyed, it's a great way to be at one with the world around you and feel that power of the sun. Getting lost in a great book outside in nature can also work similar to meditation for those who have a hard time doing that. Because they can't quiet their mind. I'm that type of person. Meditation is not my thing. I will be the first to admit I am horrible with meditation. My brain does not shut up. But to read a book for me, and I get involved in that book and I get sucked into the story, and that's a great way for me to meditate because my mind has something to focus on. So you want to just, be in the outside, leave the worries of the world alone and just spend a little time with yourself on the summer solstice. Start looking for a new job on this day. If you're not happy with the job that you have, start looking around to see what's available that you would like to try. If you need more training or expertise, start looking into what you need to do to get it. Check out schools, classes, programs to help you better your chances on getting a new job or a career. Consider starting a gratitude journal. This is, a book similar to your Book of Shadows or a personal journal type of thing, but instead of writing down spells and stuff, just write down what you're grateful for each day. There's another little trick that you can do too. It starts on January 1st. You get a nice pretty jar. It's a New Year's resolution type of thing. You get a nice pretty jar, and every day you write something good that happened to you, or something positive, or something you're grateful for. Just one thing. You only have to write down one thing, and everybody can figure that out every day. Every day you've got to be grateful for one thing. If anything at all, just be grateful you're alive. and you get to see another day. But write down one thing and put it in the jar, and then the following New Year's Eve, that New Year's Eve, you take out that jar and read all those things for the 365 days. And you will be amazed at how much your life is blessed. So yes, everybody has a bad day, but it's not a bad life. So try recognizing all of the good and wonderful things in your life. If it helps you to better notice fulfillment when you feel it. Be honest with your goals. We all grow and change over time. Making sure you're not hanging on to goals that no longer fit the person that you have become. So you want to, evaluate your life. Another one, you can consolidate your energies. The stability and promise of warmer days ahead is considered to be a time to develop yourself. It's a time to nurture and set yourself free. This is a time for self-maturing and for consolidating your energies. Take the easier nature of summer as a reason to make a greater effort to lose weight, to refreshen your home, whether it's a new layout or even a new home, to readjust your nutrition, and to find an exercise that works for you rather than doing what everyone else is doing. Start a new diet with fresh fruits and vegetables as a base. Align your thinking about food to one that involves eating more greens or more locally grown foods, more organic and less processed foods. And you will actually start to notice a change in your body too by doing that. It's amazing how many chemicals are in the food that we eat. And I am far from being, just vegan and all natural. I eat a cheeseburger. But for the most part, I do try to eat, especially seasonal vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, because it does really help your body. Renew your wardrobe. If you haven't updated your look in a while and your clothes are starting to show their age, the summer solstice is a perfect time to update your wardrobe. You can send the unwanted clothes to a thrift store, or better yet, you can send them to a shelter or a domestic violence group. They always have women in there who have had to leave situations where they had nothing when they left, and donating clothes to domestic violence groups I highly recommend, because there are a lot of women out there that are in hiding and have nothing, and they appreciate the fact of having clothes, trust me. A lot of these places take donated clothes for women, and then you can add some new items that'll make you feel good and confident about your look and that you're presenting to others. There are tons of websites online that cover how to make a new wardrobe by recycling your clothes, updating old clothes, and even making your wardrobe new without buying anything. Another good idea is you can have a fashion swap party. Get together with some friends where you're all about the same size or whatever. Have them bring old clothes they don't want anymore and swap them out. Drink some sangria and have a little party and swap clothes. You guys can play dress up. That is a great thing to do. And whatever clothes you guys don't want, you could donate to the shelters and stuff. Herbs and flowers that were picked during the summer solstice were believed by people in medieval times to carry healing powers beyond their normal ones. Grab an herbal guidebook, and I can suggest a whole ton of them. There are a ton of them out there. Whether you plan to use them medicinally, magically, or even just to cook with them, you decide. Find herbs you enjoy using and start a garden. If you can't start one outside, start a window garden. I grow basil and parsley and cilantro in my house in a window. I live in an apartment, but you can do that. You can grow some in your house. You can also take the time to learn about a natural healing technique that you've been interested in for a while. There's a ton out there of those too. From Reiki to therapeutic massage to acupuncture and acupressure. If you'd like to be a practitioner in healing arts, you can look for courses that you can take. So that's another thing you can do to celebrate the summer solstice without having to have a full-blown ritual. You can throw a party with a bonfire if you're able to. If you're in a place where you can have a bonfire, by all means, have a bonfire. This is a traditional practice of the summer solstice. Fire has always been a source of protection for humans, scaring off beings of the night, both real and magical. So always make sure where you are going to have this bonfire is safe and allowed, and check with the town to make sure, if you need a permit, Make sure you get your permit too. If you live in an apartment with no chance of having a fire of any kind, light some summer solstice incense or a candle. You don't have to be left out of the whole thing. You can light a candle. Don't forget to honor the sun, because the sun is a big part of what the summer solstice is. If you enjoy doing yoga, there is a set of exercises known as the sun salutation, or salute to the sun, which you can perform. These are intended to exercise both your body and your soul, balancing both in harmony through both meditation and movement. You can begin this exercise in the morning of the summer solstice and then aim to make a daily habit of it. And a lot of times you can find these things at your local library. They will have DVDs, and some still have VHS tapes, for those of you who still have a VHS player, where you can rent them and use them for free, so it won't cost you anything. Summer solstice is also a great time to help children make a tangible connection with the earth. This is a big thing for me. With your children, you want to get them to understand and connect with the sun and bring them closer to nature. We don't have a lot of the programs in the school systems anymore that we used to have when I was young. I don't even think they have agriculture class anymore. I had agriculture when I was in school, and we had a garden. Well, we know they don't have cursive handwriting or handwriting in general anymore. And kids are so in tune these days with iPhones and video games and computers and iPads and everything else that they don't really understand and take the time to pay attention to nature. So this would be a good chance for you to spend some time with the children and, show them nature. Go camping, But leave the Game Boys and the phones at home, or set a designated time when they can use them, so that they actually do get a chance to figure out what nature is. A few ideas for projects that you can create with children, is different things. Kids will actually come up with a lot of their own too, so don't be surprised. Grapevine wreaths. These make excellent bases, which you can decorate with fresh or dried flowers and yarn or ribbons. They can be made really small to use at the base of candles, or you can make them large enough to hang on doors or windows. You can also make garlands to decorate the hearth or your altar. The ideas for this is limitless, but the best part is being able to do a project with your children that can be enjoyed all year long. Modeling clay is another great tool to work with children with. It comes in different types, and some are even self-hardening and bakeable. You can get out some toothpicks, some chopsticks, other carving instruments, and make suns with faces, happy faces. You can poke holes in them and then tie ribbons or strings through them and hang them. Maybe make coasters to use underneath your summer drinks. Children of all ages love finding skinny sticks from the yard, especially the little ones. The little ones love hunting for sticks. Have them make an asterisk type of shape with these. Have them get 8 sticks. Well, no, it's 4 sticks, and it looks like an 8-spoked wheel. Then you use the remnants of yarns and ribbons and stuff like that, and you weave them around them, and it makes a god's eye. You can make god's eye shapes. I do have a couple that I've made over the years. If you're using 4 sticks, if the 4 sticks is too bulky for small fingers, you can use 3. The solar shape is more of a hexagon, but it's still appealing. You can poke in a flower or 2 for a pleasing effect, like marigolds and daisies. And when you're finished, you can, hang these up so that, in the windows and stuff, so the kids can see them. Because kids love it when they make you stuff and you hang it up. I mean, my kids, when they were little, my refrigerator was covered in all kinds of stuff. So now, because this is a healing type of summer type of program as well, because I like throwing a little bit of healing in there too. There are some other healthy ways that you can take care of yourself during the summer solstice. There's a handful of solstice self-care tips that could prove both helpful and wise for you. One of the big ones is taking care of your feet. Now, we all know summertime we wear sandals and flip-flops and we go barefoot. And this is not so much of getting a pedicure for your outward appearance, although I will say this, ladies, if your feet look like you can swoop down out of the sky and grab a fish out of the water, please do not wear open-toed shoes. No. But this is for feeling good about bearing your skin on your feet, on exposed feet. You want to scrub up your feet that have dried out over the winter months. Scrub them with your foot scrubs and stuff like that, because you tend to accumulate calluses or blisters. You want to trim those overgrown toenails. Yes, pretty toes are all fine and good, but the health of your feet is where it's at. So you want to make sure that your feet are healthy. Another good tip is to soak your feet in cider vinegar. That actually has agents in it that will help with any kind of athlete's foot, any kind of nail fungus, anything like that. You want to do it like 2 or 3 times a day if you have nail fungus. You want to try to kill that bacteria. But if you do a pedicure once a week or so, soak your feet in vinegar first. You'd be amazed. And there is another thing out there where if you take vinegar, I believe it's vinegar and Listerine, all the dead skin on your feet will just wipe right off. So, just take the time to take care of your feet. Trust me, your feet are something you want to take care of, because if your feet are hurting, you're not going to feel right. Do a double take of your body in the mirror. This is more of a reality check on the body parts that were abandoned during the winter and spring months. This has nothing to do with, how skinny you are, but everything to do with any kind of excess weight that could spell trouble. I'm not saying if you're a little bit overweight. I'm saying excess weight that could cause heart problems or diabetes, that kind of excess weight. Heart disease and other ailments. If your body is unaccustomed to carrying more weight than normal, you want to make sure that you do a conscious decision to shift your health to alleviate those few pounds. Okay, here it is. Listerine, vinegar, and warm water. Yes, and you can also add small marbles to the bottom to give your feet a massage while they're soaking. Sun protection. This is another big deal. I am a person who suffers from vitamin D deficiency. And a big part of that is because I do not spend enough time in the sun due to the fact that I have lupus, and being in the sun will aggravate it. But if you take 15 minutes per day and you just go outside in the sun with no sunscreen on, the problems with sunscreen is it stops the vitamin D from getting soaked into your system. I'm not saying go outside and stay out there for an hour or a half hour. 15 minutes with no sunscreen. That actually will up your vitamin D level. So you want to try that. The tricky part of balancing how much of our beautiful sunshine is helping our bones and organs and even creating a healthier blood flow is kind of tricky. 10 to 20 minutes of unprotected time each day is our ultimate friend. I do 15. 15 is good for me. We don't need to overdo it by baking in the sun. We also do not need to overuse sunscreen to the point where Mother Nature's best shine isn't allowed into our bodies. This is a very controversial approach to sun care. But if we allow the sun to do its thing within our lives, we might just discover how amazing the sun can be. Bones are happy, skins are happy, and even in some cases depression is lifted. Cleansing. There's another thing you can be doing during this time of the year. A cleansing of the needless in incredible ways to begin the summer fun. We typically associate this purging as happening during the transition months, autumn and spring. Yet the solstice is prime for ridding our lives of things that have worn out their welcome, whether it be clothes, food, habits, all of it. Let it go. Donate, recycle, hand it down to family members, repurpose and start over. A fresh, clean slate is the only way to go. When it comes to body things, whatever makes us feel alive and energized during these long summer days is a gift to ourselves. Do we need a haircut to enliven our spirits and chop off the old dead ends from the past year? Go for it. Does a salt scrub ridding ourselves of dead skin cells collected over the long winter months demand attention? Will this adventure I'm about to embark on inspire my creative forces that lie deep within? You bet. Summer is such a lifting and spirit-filled time of year, so let's take it up a notch and begin a season of joy, newness, more time spent with loved ones. Embrace the present and have time for your life this solstice season. Finally, I have a few basic healthy food ideas that you can use at your celebration or even any night of the week. So I'm going to give you some wonderful recipe tips because, and stuff, because that's what I do. Lemon balm tea. This is full bloom. It's perfect opportunity to make a pitcher of cold lemonade. You can use your lemon balm because right now it's at the peak. You can brew this up in your kitchen and serve it over ice. So it doesn't have to be a hot tea. You make it as an iced tea. Use 2 cups of lemon balm leaves fresh. You use honey, raw honey, or another sweetener, depending on what you have, and water. And that's it. You bring 2 quarts of water to a boil. Yeah, I can speak. Add the leaves, reduce the heat, and allow it to steep for about 15 minutes. Then you strain the leaves out, and you can add your honey or other sweetener to taste. If the tea is too strong, you can add a bit of water to thin it out. And then you pour it into an ice-filled pitcher and serve it. And you can even add like a sprig of mint to garnish. This is a really, really good tea. Savory snack wraps. Now, I'm totally into snack wraps. I'm not a big bread eater, but I do like wraps. So these snack wraps are easy to make, and you can prepare them ahead of time. So if you are going to have some kind of party, you can make these up ahead of time. They work nicely as an appetizer in a summer menu. Or you can put them together, a variety of them together different ways for a main course for like a light dinner, because I myself don't eat as much in the summertime because of the heat. You need 10 flour tortillas, 1 package of cream cheese softened, 1 tablespoon of fresh dill, 1 garlic clove minced, 1 cup of shredded lettuce, a cup of shredded carrots, a cup of diced tomatoes, 1 pound of chicken breast cooked and diced up, 2 cups of your favorite cheese shredded, so it doesn't matter, whatever your cheese is for your favorite, use it, and a tablespoon of curry if you like the hot spice in there, otherwise leave it out if you can't have it. You want to mix the dill and garlic into the cream cheese and stir it up until it's really blended. Then you spread the cream cheese mixture evenly on the tortillas. And then in layers, add your lettuce, your carrots, tomatoes, chicken breast, and top them with cheese. Then to roll the tortillas up and fold them at the bottom of the tortilla, and then fold them at the other side. And you can use toothpicks to keep them from unrolling and chill them for about an hour before you serve them. If you have a veggie lover and you want to do a veggie lover option instead of chicken, you can use diced and cooked tofu or rice. You can season it with a bit of teriyaki or soy sauce as well. And you can also use chopped cucumbers or peppers. And if your person is gluten-free, where they can't have that, the alternative to use would be brown rice tortillas instead of your flour tortillas. So, you can make these your own. These are just suggestions. Fresh fruit fennel salad. Fennel has a rich licorice-like flavor, and it lends itself well to cooling summer salads. You want to add a bit of fruit to offset the savoriness of the fennel and top it with a light mustard vinaigrette, and you've got the perfect salad to serve as a side dish or a main course. Your ingredients are 1 large fennel bulb, 2 fresh oranges, 1 Granny Smith apple, 3 green onions, a 1/4 cup of water, 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of honey mustard, 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh rosemary, and 1 garlic clove minced. So what you're going to do is you shave the fennel into pieces, like a mandolin. Use a mandolin if you have one. And toss it in a bowl. Then you peel and divide the oranges and chunk up the Granny Smith apples, dice the green onions, and then add this all to the fennel. Combine the water, the vinegar, the olive oil, the honey mustard, rosemary, and garlic in a bowl, and whisk it until it's blended, and then you drizzle it over the fennel and fruit salad. Awesome salad. I have to leave out the apples because I'm allergic to apples, but the rest of the stuff, awesome. It's really, really good. So the next one is going to be fiery grilled salmon. In Celtic lore, the salmon is associated with knowledge. So, in fact, the first person to taste this delicious fish was granted all kinds of wisdom. At the summer solstice, certainly a time of fire, why not toss a salmon into the flame so you can partake of its vast knowledge? This simple dish can be prepared out on your grill to keep the kitchen cool, and it tastes as good cold the next day on top as of a salad. So you can actually, if you make too much, you can have a salmon salad the next day. You need 2 pounds of salmon fillets with the skin on, a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 3 cloves of garlic minced, and a 1/4 cup of olive oil. You combine the olive oil and soy sauce, Dijon mustard, garlic, and cayenne pepper in a bowl and whisk it all together. You can use a barbecue brush and brush half of the mixture on the salmon fillets and place them sauce side down, which would be skin side up, on the grill. Do not touch them. Let them go for 6 to 7 minutes, because salmon is the type of fish that until it's actually cooked, when you go to peel it off, if it's stuck, it will fall apart. So let them sit for the 6 to 7 minutes. You want to brush the remainder of the sauce onto the skin side. Use a large spatula to flip them over. Grill for another 5 minutes or so and take them off the heat. Allow them to sit for about 10 minutes before serving. Because what it does is, and if you cover them with like a piece of aluminum foil, it will soak the juices back in so they're not dry. A well-cooked fish is one that is not too dry. So when you remove the salmon from the grill, it may seem a little undercooked in the center. However, once it sits for 10 minutes, the heat in the juices will actually finish the cooking. So don't cook salmon until it looks cooked in the middle, because then it dries out and loses its flavor. So you want a little grilling tip. And that works with any kind of fish. Don't cook it till it's like looks cooked. Just let it sit for 10 minutes. All food continues to cook when you take it off the stove, out of the oven, off the grill. Just let it sit there. It'll cook itself. Grilled vegetables. Here's another thing you can do on the grill if you're going to barbecue. A few things symbolize midsummer season, like early vegetables, which are your peppers, your onions, even asparagus. When you celebrate the power of the energy sun, grilled vegetables are perfect representation of solar energy. After all, what's better than cooking with fire like your ancestors did? So you can toss some of these veggies on the grill and dig into them. I mean, seasonal vegetables, what could you ask for? You need 4 bell peppers, your choice of color. So if you want to use red, green, and yellow, by all means, use the colors. 2 onions, 2 yellow squash, 4 portobello mushrooms, 2 zucchinis, a bunch of green onions, a 1/2 pound of asparagus spears trimmed, some olive oil, salt and pepper, balsamic vinegar to taste, 3 cloves of garlic minced, can't tell I'm Italian, garlic and everything, fresh rosemary, and oregano. And what you're going to do is you preheat a grilling pan over medium heat. You wash and trim all the vegetables. You cut the larger ones like the zucchini and the eggplant and squash type things into slices. Place those veggies in a bowl and drizzle some olive oil over them. Shake the bowl so that all the vegetables get coated with that oil. Then you want to sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper to taste, just enough to taste. Add those vegetables to the grilling pan and grill them until they're tender. They should be lightly charred, which will take anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes. And if you're doing a lot, it's best to do these in small batches, unless you have a really big grilling pan. While the vegetables are grilling, you can combine a 1/4 of a cup of olive oil with some balsamic vinegar, garlic, rosemary, and oregano. When you remove the veggies from the grill, you place them in a bowl and then add the herb oil mixture to coat them. And then you serve these vegetables right there. Some vegetables tend to grill poorly though, so be careful which ones you choose. Peppers, eggplant, asparagus, summer squash, and onions all work well. Stay away from your vegetables that have a high water content like cucumbers, celeries, or leafy greens. Those do not grill quite as well. Candied ginger is another thing you can make to celebrate the summer solstice. Ginger is a root vegetable. It's found in a lot of Asian cuisine, but it can be grown all over the world. To make this recipe, you need about 1 pound of ginger root. which you can either grow yourself or pick up at a local grocery store. You're candying it with sugar and corn syrup. Then you store it for a fiery sweet snack combination. It kind of has that, ginger has that fiery taste and it's still sweet. It's almost like sweet and salty, only this is sweet and hot. You need a pound of ginger root, 3 cups of white sugar divided, 2 cups of water, and a 1/4 cup of white corn syrup. You want to peel the skin from the ginger root completely and then chop it up into smaller pieces. You combine 2 cups of sugar, the water, and the corn syrup in a crock pot. You want to bring that to high heat, stirring it occasionally. Once the sugar melts, then you add the ginger to the liquid. Cover it. Reduce the heat and allow it to simmer overnight or for at least 12 hours. Once the ginger has simmered that long, you can drain off the liquid, and then you place that ginger in a bowl with the remaining 1 cup of sugar and toss it so it's completely coated. You pour those out on a sheet of wax paper to cool. You can put them in the fridge to cool them too. And then you store them in an airtight container, and you can snack on them whenever you want a fiery pick-me-up. So those are really good too. I've made those before. Is this my last one? I think it is. Yes, it is. My last one for you guys is a midsummer mead. This mead you make with this recipe will reflect the qualities of the honey you use. So the better honey you have, the better it's going to taste. Mead is fairly high in alcohol content as well, so it's 10 to 12% by volume. So on this you're going to want 12-ounce bottles, at least 12-ounce bottles. This makes about 5 gallons, which should fill 53 12-ounce bottles. So, this is for a party, guys, and this needs to be made ahead of time. You need 12 to 18 pounds of a grade A honey. If you have a place around you that sells raw honey, that's where you want to go. 12 to 18 pounds. You need 4.5 gallons of tapped or bottled water. I highly suggest bottled water. And 8 grams of freeze-dried wine, champagne, or a dedicated made yeast. This is yeast type stuff, but it's specifically made for wine, champagne, or dedicated mead. It's not like the bread yeast that you use. Making mead requires essentially the same basic kit necessary to brew beer at home. You need a primary and secondary plastic bucket, fermenter with airlocks and spigots, transfer hosing, a bottle filter. This is not an easy thing to make, but I wanted to put this in here. You can normally find these items. They sell about $70 total. That wouldn't include the bottling, the bottles. Home breweries, the home brewery and stuff like that, sell bottles from $6 to $20 a dozen. So depending on the style, you can get bottles through them. All your equipment has to be sterilized. Ordinary unscented house cleaners like bleach does the job really fine. You want to put all the equipment, including the lid and stirring spoons, in that fermentation bucket and fill it with water and 2 teaspoons of unscented bleach. Then you let it sit for 30 minutes, drain the water through the spigot, rinse everything in hot water, and allow it to air dry. And that will actually sanitize your stuff. To make the mead, 4.5 gallons of water. You bring it to a boil. Boiling should remove any harsh chlorine from your tap water, but I still say use better water. If you don't own a pot large enough to hold 5 gallons of water, you can boil as much as possible, and you just keep adding once you boil it. Once the water reaches a boil, remove it from the heat and stir in all of the honey. Do not boil the honey. It will reduce the aromatic qualities of the finished mead. While the honey is dissolving in the water, you can put a cup of lukewarm water into a clean bowl, sprinkle the yeast, and cover the bowl with plastic wrap. When the honey has been fully dissolved in the water and the pot is cool to the touch, which means not over 80 degrees, pour the honey water into the fermentation bucket and stir in the yeast mixture. Cooling the honey water should actually take about a half an hour. The process can be accelerated with a so-called sink bath, but I don't recommend it. I think you should just let it cool by itself. You want to top it off so that you have 4.5 gallons of water if you don't have 4.5 gallons after boiling it. Seal the bucket and allow the mixture to ferment for 2 weeks to a month. This process of fermentation can be judged by monitoring the carbon dioxide bubbles escaping from the airlock. So it takes a little while for this to actually mature. When it has matured enough and the mead has cleared, you'll want to siphon it into sterilized bottles that you're going to keep it in. Keep in mind that this recipe is a non-carbonated mead, so it won't have like beer has that psh when you open it. This is not going to do that. It's a non-carbonated mead. And mead does typically improve with age, so the longer you wait to open the bottles, even better. Mead is very much so like a wine. The longer you let it sit, the better it becomes. So, but I can, if anybody wants this whole recipe, it is huge. It is long. I kind of skimmed over it. I can send it to you. Just, let me know and I'll send it to you if you want to try making it. So, but that is my show for tonight. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to message me. You can catch me on Raven Wings. That's my public profile page on Facebook. You can go into the Essential Witch page and message me there. You can message me on Walking the Crooked Path page. You can message me there. So any questions or any show ideas, thanks everybody. Have a great night.